Oh shoot, what the frick? Everyone's here?
Hi, this is an Animorphs Book Club podcast. We're going to read the Animorphs, talk about the Animorphs. Only one of us has read the Animorphs prior to last month, so we're going to go through all of them. I don't know. What's the intro? I don't know the rest of the intro.
We're going to read as many as we can stand.
We're going to read as many as we can stand.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mr. B Natural. I'm a war prince, and I've read all the books.
My name is Better. I'm an arist, and I've read 5 of the books now.
Hi, I'm Mustard.
I'm Stir. I have read 5 of the books. All of them this month.
So we read book 5?
Yeah, book 5. And it's Stir's turn to describe the book.
It's called The Predator.
Yes, it is.
I don't know why it's called that.
Doesn't matter. This is, I think, about like 25% of the books have meaningful titles, and then everything else is just shot in the dark.
I think this is the least meaningful one so far.
There is a predator in this book. Multiple predators. Tobias is a predator. Jake is a predator when he turns into a tiger.
I don't think any of them are vegan, except maybe Cassie, so I guess they're all predators.
Hey, Stu, are you going to read your haikus, or what do you have planned here?
I thought Pearl was just haiku.
Haiku? I honestly think the haiku is not a bad idea for this book.
I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a good idea, yeah.
Chapter 1. Marco finds 3 punks mugging an old man, so he morphs to beat them up. Chapter 2. The plot is explained, and now Axe wants to go home in a York spaceship. Chapter 3. They meet up with Axe and figure out how they will steal a bug fighter. Chapter 4. At 10:25 the bus comes, and they head to the Radio Shack. Chapter 5. Axe buys a coffee and tools from the Radio Shack, then mall cops show up. Chapter 6. Axe runs while morphing, and the cops follow them to the grocery store. Chapter 7. They hide as lobsters for almost 2 hours, and they're about to be boiled. Chapter 8. Ah! 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 They unmorphed in someone's house. She saved the lobsters. Chapter 9. We see Marco's dad. Axe builds a distress beacon to call a York ship. Chapter 10. Axe needs one more part. Chapman probably has it. Marco will steal it. Chapter 11. They retell the plot, then the group morphs into ants outside of Chapman's. Chapter 12. Ants are hive insects, so they lost their sense of self for a few minutes. Chapter 13. They reach the basement and steal Chapman's transponder. Other ants attack. Chapter 14. Wow, ants are brutal. Trying to bite me in half. They morph to escape. Chapter 15. Rachel pins a girl to the table at lunchtime. Chapman yells at them. Chapter 15. Marco decides he's done with Animorphs as soon as they get Axe home. Chapter 17. They fly for an hour and set the distress beacon. A bug fighter comes. Chapter 18. They get in the ship, but something doesn't seem right. That's right, it's a trap. Chapter 19. Visser 3 is here. They all walk into a ship to meet Visser 1. Chapter 20. They're flown into space. Marco's mom is Visser 1. She's the one in charge. Chapter 21. Marco keeps quiet. The Vissers hate each other. Axe still keeps talking. Chapter 22. One of Visser 1's troops opened their cell and told them how to escape. Chapter 23. They run down the hall and reach the ship's escape pods, which send them straight home. Chapter 24. Marco goes to the graveyard and cries with his dad. Then they both play Doom. The end.
This was my favorite book. This is the best book so far.
All right. I didn't like it as much as The Visitor, but I'd say it's a second.
Yeah, definitely not as good as whichever one was the Tobias one. But see, this one had angst too, so that made it. So that's why it was just as good, you know.
What I managed to read was pretty good.
The people at Cinnamon Bunza were like, can you imagine if Marco had gotten trapped as a hawk instead of Tobias? The universe would just collapse in on itself from angst.
Yeah.
This one wasn't that angsty, yeah.
Yes, it was. Every 2
Yeah, it was.
Marco was like, my mom is dead, and they never found the body.
That's not angst. That's just old dad being sad.
That's such angst.
And Marco felt conflicted because he's like, oh my gosh, my dad is going to be so sad if I die.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to save the world, but saving my dad seems more important.
Okay, this was not a sad book though. It's just he has a depressed dad because his mom's dead. Like I don't think it was a sad book.
It ends with Marco crying over his mom's grave, even though she's not dead, but he can't tell anybody that because she's like an alien overlord. The last chapter is basically like an emo poem about a graveyard.
It ends with him being happy with his dad and playing Doom, and they're happy together at the end of the chapter. They're like, "Oh yeah, we should stop being sad," and they're happy at the end.
Yeah, but this book was so sad overall.
Yeah, this was the least sad book so far, other than the
Are
first
you
one.
stupid or dumb? Other than the first one?
Yeah, the first one had like no angst at all.
Oh, I see. The first one is like the happiest, and then this is the second happiest. All right, I get what you mean now. I don't agree with you.
This book was so fun. It was the most fun book.
This is why I love X. I hope you guys see why I love X now.
I definitely like Axe a bit more now.
Did the haikus cover about Marco's mom being alive?
Yes.
Yes.
So, okay, well, first, I think we should start with Marco, his character. Like, what's it like having Marco as a narrator? What did you guys think about Marco as a narrator?
It's everything I dreamed of and more.
Yeah. I just kept writing. It was like all the quotes from before where we were writing them down, except this time they weren't just when Marco talked. They were just the entire book.
They're just an entire book.
Yeah, I loved them. I was like writing down all these quotes. Like on the first page, he says, "I'm not even average height for my age, although I make up for it by being incredibly cute and charming and witty and modest."
And modest.
Yeah.
There were very few jokes that I didn't like. Most of them.
Jake has. I just like his tongue-in-cheek kind of jokes where it's not like necessarily making a huge joke of it, but like I like his description of all the Animorphs, and where he says Jake has sensible brown hair and trustworthy brown eyes and one of those confident chins. Cassie's like sincere or something. I want every book to just recap it like that. Like, can they just describe it like that every time? I would be happy.
Do you want to talk about the first scene quick? Because I think for the last 2 episodes we talked about like the last scene first, and that's kind of weird. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, I think it makes sense to kind of go through it more or less linearly, but not strictly, since we did the thing. That's why we're doing the thing in the beginning.
Yeah.
All right, so in the first chapter, Marco is just walking home from shopping, and then he sees someone getting mugged, so he decides to turn into a gorilla and beat up the people who are threatening the old man who is the victim of the mugging. But then the old man tries to shoot him because he's a big scary gorilla that came out of nowhere and just mauled 2 people. So I think that's reasonable.
This was my favorite first scene, I think.
Mine too, because it wasn't like about animal rights.
Yeah, it was like something you'd see in like Spider-Man or something.
Yeah.
Like I would never imagine Spider-Man like saving some hawk from a car dealership, but he would like stop some thugs like beating up some dude, and I like this better, I think.
Saving a hawk from a car dealership, A, it doesn't seem like a very likely scenario, and B, it seems like they would be exposing themselves too much for their gain.
And C, they did property damage to all the vehicles.
Wait a minute, a hawk swooping in and saving another hawk is too unrealistic, but a gorilla just coming out of...
No, but there's also an elephant there. There's an elephant like stomping on the cars for no reason. Like
That part was dumb.
No, it wasn't that like a gorilla stopping people was realistic, but it seemed more like what you would expect from like superheroes to do. Like, oh yeah, he turns into a monkey. But
they're not superheroes.
He's not a monkey.
I like that one of the guys points a gun at the gorilla and he's like, "Come and get some, monkey man!" Like he's so confident.
oh, that wasn't one of my, that was one I didn't like. But
He was like a freaking video game villain.
If I saw a gorilla, even if I was trying to mug somebody, I would not.
Well, that's why I liked it. He was like so stupid. He was so confident. Like,
Well, yeah, it's the problem I normally have is that like the extras in these books are terribly written in one-dimensional, and they don't seem like real people.
they're funny
Yeah.
though.
I mean, it's fun, but it's not realistic.
That bird had
Silly.
a beard, Chester. I still can't do a southern accent.
Sugar Bing, do your southern accent again.
My southern accent, what do you want me to say?
Talk about how the bird stole your alcohol.
Oh, them birds down there. They keep stealing all my alcohols. I buried it, and they somehow took out of the hole I buried. I don't understand.
And Cougar Bing sounds a lot different than last time he was on.
I don't worry about it.
Do I really?
He morphed, and then he morphed back, which means that he reverted back to his old age, because that's how morphing works.
Yeah.
And by old age, you mean his younger age?
His younger self, his old age, as in his previous age.
Yeah, that's the science, folks.
I like how I do like the line where Marco tells the Animorphs about what he did, and then I just like what Jake says, where he says, "Marco, it was good of you to rescue the old man, but you really shouldn't be turning into a gorilla." I like that.
They were all really getting on Marco for turning into a gorilla, but I thought it was a lot safer than, turning into an elephant or something.
I like that. Then Rachel was like, "No, Marco, I think you did the right thing." And then Marco was like, "Oh man, anytime Rachel thinks I did the right thing, I know I'm wrong."
Yeah.
I feel like in this book we got a lot of insight into why Marco makes the jokes he does. Like there are some quotes like, "I tease Tobias sometimes. What happened to him scares me." And just like that, Marco has all these kind of insecurities / fears, mostly. Just he's very scared. He might be the most scared of the Animorphs, and that's why he kind of acts like this funny guy.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
of
that's
course.
how he hides his insecurities.
Which I liked.
Pretty angsty.
There's a point where when Axe is transforming into a human, it says that his tail goes up his butt like someone slipped spaghetti.
Yeah, I took note of that. I feel like at this point I'm just going to be taking a note of anytime somebody's tail goes away and they describe it as being slurped up or squirted out or something.
Do you have the actual quote?
Yes. The deadly scorpion tail shriveled and withered and slithered up inside him like someone sucking up a piece of spaghetti.
There's a part I laughed at when Axe was just playing with his mouth, and Marco was like, "Axe, don't do that."
What?
Axe was doing the thing where he says words, and he's like, "I'm morphing, fing, fluff." Marco was like, "Stop it."
So you're gonna make us look weirder than we already are.
I really love Axe as a human. I really love that scene. This whole scene where they go to the mall with Axe as a human is exactly like those scenes in sitcoms where two guys who've never dealt with a child before now have to look after a baby, and they're like, this will be easy, and then they look away, and then the baby's on top of a construction crane or something, and it's giggling. This was exactly like that.
Yeah, and it kind of got on my nerves for that reason, because I've seen it in a lot of other things. Axe is still cute and stuff, and I like when he goes and buys coffee. Axe, if I were on an alien planet, I would not try to engage in monetary transactions, because I would have too much anxiety over oh, am I doing it right? Do I look dumb or something?
Maybe you would if you had turned into the native aliens and you were experiencing this new sense that was really awesome, and you really 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 wanted to go do the thing. I like how Axe orders coffee, and he says he just orders coffee whatever he heard somebody else say, and he says, I'll have a double latte too. Double bull latte yay. and then the clerk asks him calf or decaf, and then says calf.
Yeah.
I thought it was really funny when Jake was like, "Yeah, just throw that away," and then Axe just throws it at the cashier.
Yeah, I like that. I was just smiling this entire chapter. I was just so happy reading this whole chapter.
Yeah.
And Jake is kind of like a neurotic babysitter in this chapter, because he's Marco notes that Jake was getting slightly hacked off, and then he has to go and pay for everything that Axe screws up. Doesn't Axe end up eating trash in this chapter?
I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of aliens that eat tissues.
I do like this chapter, but I didn't like how cliche the scenes with Axe were. How they're taking care of a child.
Yeah, but I liked how he was just so he was just moaning. He was just eating. He found okay, here I'm at there now. He grabbed a half-eaten slice of pizza off the table. He threw the rest of the pizza through the air. It just missed the mall cop who was closing in on him. He had found a piece of Cinnabon. This was the smell, he cried. He jammed the roll into his mouth. Ah, taste, wonderful, full. But I remember Axe being a lot more awesome than this. I don't remember him being this freaking incompetent, because the mall cops start chasing him, and his immediate response to being caught is to just demorph.
Yeah, what the heck?
He's just an idiot, I guess.
All right, and I was really annoyed at the demorphing part, because I was like, oh, okay, how is Applegate going to write herself out of this one? There are millions of people at the mall staring at him.
Lobster.
No, but Applegate's pretty confident when she's writing herself out of corners. She's probably got some trick up her sleeve. You know what she did? Nothing. Just all these people saw Axe turn into an alien, and nothing. They didn't do anything.
You see some crazy things at the mall at a Saturday. It's just the mall.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do much if I saw that. I'd just stream and then leave and then forget about it.
I mean, the Yurks already know that like there's Andalites, so like it's not like him unmorphing is like putting him in any more danger because the people already know about the Andalite bandits.
Yeah, but not the random humans.
I guess everybody in that mall was made into a controller that day. I guess.
No, humans can see it. No issue.
Yeah, like what are humans going to do about it? Like that's not going to put them in any danger.
I would think they'd be just suspicious about him, or they're like, I guess they could call the police. Although the police are all apparently controllers by now.
It wasn't a mom and a kid, and the kid was like, "Mom, look, it's a monster." And she's like, "No, it's just a pretend monster. It's okay."
That's so stupid.
If you saw an Andalite, you would just assume it's like a guy in a costume or something. That's what you would assume. So it seems reasonable.
I don't think a guy could dress up in a costume.
I don't think a guy could dress up as an Andalite. I don't think that it would be compatible.
Listen, it's like saying if you saw like a bear running around, you could tell if you saw a bear running around the mall, you'd be like, oh, it's just a guy in a bear suit. You could tell the difference between something that's real and something that's just a guy in a suit.
Not if it's running like a human. If something is like...
Andalite,
not running like a human. He was running like a deer.
He has 4 legs. He wasn't even wearing pants.
When people see terrifying creatures, they assume it's fake. Always.
Yeah, I mean, but up until a point, you can't just infinitely dismiss things.
Any alien you see, you will assume is fake because the aliens don't exist.
That's not true. If I see it in person in front of me at the mall,
I would assume it's fake. No matter how realistic it looked, I would assume it's fake.
If you saw a big blue alien twerking in the middle of the mall, you'd think it's a guy in a costume.
Well, it depends on if it looked like an Andalite. I wouldn't assume that.
I would.
Hey, speaking of the Andalite and like being related to human anatomy, I noticed that when he's morphing back into an Andalite, his front legs go out of his chest. I thought that was weird.
Yeah, I always thought that was weird too.
Because he's like a centaur. So like,
yeah, so his back legs become his human legs.
No, but I would assume that like his like whole back just comes out of it because like his like torso and then like his front legs basically already make a human body. So I'd assume that his whole like horse part just like come out of his butt, and that's how that works.
Well, I would at least assume that the front legs would come out of his like groin area or something.
I would assume it would come out of his pelvis area.
Yeah. But they don't. But morphing's just weird like that, I guess. And then his chest lengthens, I suppose.
Yeah, that seems weird. My next note is just Moko yells bomb in the mall.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
And then everyone's like, all right, well, I guess the kid running around with next to a blue centaur is right about the bomb. Everyone just get out of here.
My thought was that no one believed Mirko. They were just running anyway because there's a blue alien.
I feel like if they assumed the alien was fake, they wouldn't run from it.
Weren't the cops there too, like telling people to get out though?
Yeah, but listen, if there was a blue alien, there'd be a million people running up and like petting it and like trying to jam their fingers up its nose and stuff.
No, it's faking stuff. It's like a bull. You don't want to go close to that.
Why would they assume that it's fake then?
Okay, that one mom was just like naive.
Wow, you completely flipped your entire position.
Okay, so
No.
From everybody else in the store was a normal human being, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, there's an alien! We gotta run!" And then they were like, "Okay, I guess there was an alien in the store the other day, but whatever."
No, listen to the recording. Listen to the files. When we first talked about this, I said I think the mom was just saying that to make the kid not afraid, and then Mustard was like, "Oh no, she was totally serious," and then I just was trying to defend him.
That seemed fine.
Oh, that probably was buried because we're all like screaming about how dumb it was. I should really believe that.
Cut it out.
All right, so they get into the grocery store. Do we have anything else to say about this part? Sorry.
We'll get into the lobster part, right?
Yeah.
I love that part. I've always wanted.
Once again, they regret not having like acquired fly morphs or something like nice.
No, but insects are like the worst thing ever created, and
only ants are
all bad.
I didn't know that at this point, anyway. But only ants are bad. Like Jake morphed a flea, and that was fine.
No, I have a feeling that Applegate just is really racist towards bugs of any kind.
No, ants are bad because they're like a hive mind insect.
Yeah. I mean, they could have at least more fleas, just like Jake did, and they'd just be small and they could just hop on out of there.
Fleas have like no sight at all, though. Like that was
Whatever. It would have been better than morphing a lobster and getting in the tank with the other lobsters and then being bought by a lady and then almost being eaten.
Yeah, I feel really bad for the girl that bought them. She was like, she must have spent a lot of money because she bought
It demorph in her hands. Like, imagine you're holding a lobster and then suddenly it's all fleshy and it feels like human skin and it's got like a little lips. Doesn't Marco like have lips and then he forms lips while he's still a lobster and then he says like, no, don't eat me.
Can I explain the scene?
Yeah.
They jump in the lobster tank and they're in there for like almost 2 hours. And then Axe is like, hey, we have 7 minutes left. So then they're like, okay, we need to demorph. And then Marco starts to demorph, and they can't see because the lobsters, and they have bad senses and everything, or different ones. So then Marco starts unmorphing, and he realizes that he's in this woman's hand who's about to drop him into a pot of boiling water. And then he starts unmorphing in her hand, and she starts screaming. and then like after the transform, like, no, chill out, it's fine. And she's just like keeps screaming, like, dude, chill, it's fine, I hurt you. And this is my favorite scene in like all 5 books so far.
She says, I just like what she says. She's a very realistically written extra. She's like the only extra that seems like a real person here because she's not like, I feel like if she was an extra in any of the other books leading up to this, she would have been like, that ain't right. It ain't right that no lobster should turn into a human boy in my kitchen and then run away. That ain't right. But she's just like, she's just like, almost has a heart attack. She just says, you, lobsters.
She screams 14 times. 14 times it says, ah.
And I like what Marco says. He says, yeah, it is slightly weird, I'll admit.
It's slightly weird.
There's one thing that I really love Marco says. I stood up, I looked around and saw a woman. She was sort of pretty, except for the fact that her eyes were wide with terror and she was screaming, ah, ah, ah.
Classic Marco's first inclination is to describe how pretty the woman is.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, when I saw those lobster tanks, I thought, man, it would be really fun to go in one of those and you could like climb on the lobsters. So to me, that seemed like a fun time. And when I was reading this, I was like, yeah, this is like my fantasy as a kid. I can feel like I'm inside the lobster tank. I liked it.
Yeah, I had no problem with them becoming lobsters.
Neither did I.
But it's such a horrifying experience, and I just can't picture myself being that frightened by it.
I think them staying in the tank for so long was a really bad idea, because like, don't they know that the lobsters are in there for people to buy and eat, or did they just not know that?
Maybe, okay, what I assumed was that, like, everybody was rushing out of the store, like, including the people, like, behind the counters and, like, all of the customers. So I just assumed that, the store would be pretty empty and the police would be, like, setting up like, securing the perimeter for at least the next 2 hours just to figure out what the heck was going on here.
I was surprised the store reopened that fast. Like, geez.
Yeah, me too.
That makes sense.
There was just an alien in here, and 2 kids ran in there after talking about a bomb. 2 kids ran into here, and then they never came out, and nobody found their bodies. But okay, fine, everyone just go shopping.
Well, kids are good at running away, so they might have just ran away. The kids run away in all these.
There are police everywhere.
That's still very irresponsible.
If there's nobody found, you can't assume they're dead until it's been a certain amount of time. So all they could assume was that, okay, they're gone, so they're not here, so I guess...
No, they weren't looking for the kids. The kids were just there. Like, the cops said, kids, get out of the way, it might be dangerous. So I assumed they just thought that they ran away, and that was that.
All right. So, that happens.
Good scene.
One little nitpick. I didn't like the part where Marco, like, all of a sudden is a vegetarian, and he says, do us a favor, would you please take those other guys, the lobsters, down to the beach and let them go, okay? What?
Yeah, I was annoyed by that.
You were just a lobster, and you were describing how their brain doesn't really have, like, anything in there. So what are you talking about? And also, I don't think this lady needs you to tell her to get rid of those lobsters.
It's bad enough that she lost those 3. She's got to get rid of the other ones, too, and waste all of her money.
I was thinking he might have done that just to, like, mess with her. Like, my thought was he assumed that she was convinced that all of these lobsters turn into people. And he was like, okay, I'm just going to make her throw them into the sea. Her thinking that, okay, they'll turn into people.
Yeah, I don't think she, like I said, I don't think she needs, like, any more reason to not to get rid of those lobsters. I feel like that'd be the first thing she does immediately.
Yeah, she won't want the lobsters. So he's just saying, hey, don't toss them in the trash disposal. Put them in the sea.
All right.
Okay.
Fine, I can live with that. So then Marco has a dream. Does anyone else have anything to say about lobsters?
Oh yeah. This book I thought had the most grotesque morphing sequences so far. Like it had limbs popping out of chests, all of that.
When he was morphing into the lobster, he was like, "Yeah, I looked I was like the size of a baby, except I had like 8 limbs going out of my chest," and it was like, "Wow, that's freaky."
I don't think I've ever been freaked out by their description of a morph. They're always just like, "Oh my gosh, it was the creepiest thing ever. I had fur growing on my body." But I was like, that doesn't really faze me, dude. That doesn't. It's just like, what did you expect to happen?
Yeah, I don't care about that, but having like 8 legs going out of your chest is freaky.
That sounds like the coolest experience to me.
I'm like 8 leg
I'm
creatures.
gonna become a cryptid. Sure, yeah, that sounds like fun. And yeah, they're like, "Oh, being an ant is the worst thing ever." I didn't see anything wrong with it. Like, yeah, they're attacked by those other ants, but other than that, you know.
No, it's because ants are so focused on the hive mind that they're like not.
Who cares? I mean, you don't have to think for a few minutes.
I was surprised by how much this book hated ants. Like, I feel like media
hated ants for no reason. It was just like, nope, ants are Satan incarnate.
Yeah, screw ants. This post was made by the Anteater gang.
I feel like so much media like humanizes ants a lot, like Ant Bully and A Bug's Life and stuff. But like Applegate's like, no, ants are evil, but wells are freaking gods, man.
No, it makes sense. I mean, I like how this book isn't like, isn't just like, oh, the dogs are bad, mice are good, rats are evil. I think it's pretty realistic that people would morph. People like, oh yeah, let's morph ants. Everyone loves ants, like in The Bug's Life. And then they'd be like, oh my god, it actually sucks. Because like nobody's morphed an ant before. Nobody really knows if ants are evil or not.
But ants aren't evil. They're just a hive mind. They're just doing what the mind tells them to. So
it's evil when it's like we're animorphs and we want to achieve these things. It's evil in the sense that it stops them from doing that. Does that ever say they're evil? I feel like it just says that
it says they're very violent.
Very deadly. And if they're given nuclear weapons, they would just destroy the whole world.
That sounds evil to me.
Ants are pretty evil.
Ants wouldn't destroy the whole world. They would just they would just dig tunnels.
So then eventually the tunnels would collapse underneath us, and like we'd fall in, and then they'd eat us all because they're evil.
Yeah.
I think last episode I mentioned like how the author's not afraid to do really violent things to the kids when they're morphed as animals, and like Jake like gets his body almost cut in half by like these ants. And it's like,
your legs get torn off. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's
his like legs get ripped off. Like that's really violent. This is like a kid getting his legs ripped off. He just happens to be an ant, and then
I like the part where he morphs back, and then like when he's in the shower, he sees the ant like embedded into his torso.
Yeah, he gets bitten by an ant, and then he becomes a human. And as a human, he finds the ant's head like still biting into his body, just decapitated.
I think you said Jake, but it's Marco.
That was Marco? It wasn't Jake? Really?
Marco is the narrator. Marco didn't follow Jake into the shower and watch him take an ant off of his naked torso.
He would.
Yeah, he would, but he didn't.
In this book, I kept forgetting that Marco was the narrator and just thinking it was Cassie.
Huh.
I think it was like during the most bland parts where it could be anybody talking. It was like, oh, and then I looked over at Cassie and I'm like, oh wait, right, because he's Marco. Oops.
I like Cassie though.
Because Cassie was the narrator in the last book, I think.
When I forget to the narrators, I always default to thinking it's Jake, because Jake's just the blandest one.
Mm-hmm.
So, are we done with the scene? Because next is when they're in school, and I like this scene too. I like that we finally get to see Chapman as like an actual principal, because we've only ever seen him like being his evil alien self. But in the scene, he's just like a normal principal who happens to be being controlled by Yerks, and they get in trouble at the school, and he's just there.
He just tells them off and lets them go. He says, "Don't be bad. Bye."
Yeah, and like him being an alien isn't even relevant to the scene. They just like get in trouble and get sent to the principal's office.
And then Rachel like respects Marco a little bit. Like Rachel goes like, "Oh, you always think things are funny, Marco. It's why you're so cool and in control." Like I was like, I didn't think Rachel had it in her to compliment Marco.
What happens is like Rachel gets in a fight with this girl in the cafeteria. I don't remember how it starts. So then
the girl. Oh, I was going to say how it started.
Okay, go ahead.
The girl like bumps into her, and then she's like, "Hey, watch where you're going." And then Rachel like pins her to the table, and then Marco's like, "Hey, get off!" And then Chapman shows up, and they're all on top of each other.
Yeah, so then Chapman's like, okay, what happened? And then Marco's like, Chapman, it's my fault. They were fighting over me. They both want me. They're both madly in love with me. And I can certainly understand why, can't you? He just like said that to the principal.
Yeah.
And then the other one goes like, what, are you stupid?
Yeah, Marco's great. I think he's probably my second favorite Animorph after Tobias.
No, we all didn't like him at the first.
Yeah, I hated Marco at first, but now, yeah.
I thought Marco had his genius moments in the first 4 books.
Yeah, this whole book reminded me of my favorite scene from the first book, which was when Marco and Jake were just fooling around with tigers and golf carts. And this book had like 5 different scenes that reminded me of that.
Sounds like my kind of homebred sliced dog.
I mean, you did say that your top 10 favorite characters are Marco, except for 2 and 7 or something like that.
Also, I like how like almost everything they fought in this book was just animals. Like they weren't fighting aliens with guns; they were just fighting ants, and they were losing, and it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were losing. I was like, oh, they're just going to fight their way out and somehow bring the transponder too. But they're like, nope, we got to morph out. There's no way we're going to survive this. I'm like, yeah, ants are badass.
Yeah, the things they fight in this book are like ants, a middle school girl, some lady who's going to eat them as lobsters.
This book's so good, dude.
Mall cops.
There were no laser guns, just freaking humans and animals.
But they're laser guns at the end.
Yeah, but they don't even shoot them. They just fire warning shots. That's about it.
One thing I really liked about this book is it wasn't just like a single plan that they try to carry out and then fail. Like there's like multiple things that they do in this book, and like some of them fail, some of them don't. And like they go to Chapman's house, they like take this part that they need for like a transmitter or something, and then they like do some other thing, and then they like whatever else happens. And I like that a lot more than like at the beginning. They're like, hey, we have to do this thing, and then they like do it and they fail. Like I like
like in the last book, they had one thing that they were trying to do. They did like 2 other things that were on the way of doing this one thing, which was rescuing Axe, but they didn't accomplish anything.
Yeah.
Like they went to the beach and they got shot at, and they didn't accomplish anything.
So is the next scene them getting captured by the Andalites?
You mean the Yerks?
I'm so bad with names, man. Yeah.
Is the next scene them getting captured by the Jakes? Yes, it is.
They get captured by Kay Applegate.
And we found out that Kay Applegate's Visser won. That was crazy.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy. So what did you guys think about Marco's mom being Pink Diamond?
We don't know that name. What are you talking about?
That's not what she is.
Okay, Marco's mom being Visser 1. I just finished editing episode 3, and I noticed that it was really weird how the narrator was like, "Oh yeah, Marco's mom like drowned recently." I thought it was weird how like flippantly he said that, and it makes a lot of sense now that Applegate wrote it that way, because she's like not actually dead, but you knowing that she is dead is important. But also, B Natural said something about like, oh no, saying that she drowned, then you know it's like a sudden death and the body wasn't found. And that's like important to know also, because if you suddenly see his mom, you'll be like, oh, what, didn't she die? She was like buried. But like if you just hear that she drowned, you know, like, oh yeah, the body wasn't found. So then you're like, oh yeah, that could have been fake. So that everything made sense.
I thought did anybody, I mean, I thought that it was a pretty, I mean, I knew it of course, but reading up to this, like every single time they brought up Marco's mom, they were like, oh, and by the way, the body wasn't found. So I was thinking like, it's really obvious that she's not dead actually.
No, not at all.
I did notice how much they referenced the fact that his mom's body wasn't found, but I just assumed that was like, oh, Applegate just doesn't want to be graphic. She doesn't want to like have an angsty scene of Marco like remembering what his mom's dead, bloated body looked like when he went to identify her. Applegate just wanted it to be more poetic that way.
No, be natural. I don't think any of us knew that she wasn't dead.
Okay.
But like, it seemed weird because from the first 3 books, it's like, wow, yeah, death is real in this universe. People died. Marco has to deal with death, and his dad is like grieving over his mom. And then it's like, nope, she's alive. People don't die.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit like misguiding.
Yeah, so it's like, no, kids, no, people don't actually die. If your mom's dead, she's just an alien. Like, it's
See, I think it's kind of justified because then it shows the dad's getting over his grief and moving on with his life. And that's not related to the fact that the mom is still alive anyway.
I actually didn't mind the fact that Marco's mom is Visser 1. I actually did like it.
Oh yeah, that was the coolest thing ever. That's like the second most metal thing outside of like the series of Garfield strips in October of 1989, I think.
I was not expecting you to make that comparison better, but okay.
But yeah, I really didn't have a problem with it. Some stuff I thought was weird, but I had very, very few problems with this book. I pretty much liked it all the way through and had no problems with it.
Yeah.
I had a few problems with it.
But yeah, Marco's mom being Visser 1, I thought that was cool.
To be clear to anyone who's listening to these podcasts and doesn't quite get the books or whatever, she's not like Visser. She didn't like sign up to be Visser 1. She's got a Yerk in her brain who's controlling her, and the Yerk is Visser 1, and she's just like she's just like being controlled by it. But for short, we say Marco's mom is Visser 1.
I liked how Axe was like, oh yeah, there's a Visser 1 and a Visser 2 before Visser 3, and they're both more powerful than Visser 3, and there's like 47 Vissers and like cool lore like that. And then Axe was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure Visser 1's a human. And I wrote that down, like, what? Why would only Visser 3 be an Andalite? Like, I feel like that body would be given to somebody who's more powerful. Like, why would Visser 1 be a human? That's like a weak body. And then the book later went on to justify it, because it's like, Visser 1's like, I don't need a cool body. Like, you're just trying to show off Visser 3. I want to blend in with the humans. I want to get to know this planet so I can better take it over. And so, like, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense that she would want to be human then.
Visser 3 is the only Visser who can morph.
No, I'm saying, like, if they captured an Andalite and they're like, okay, we got to put somebody in the Andalite's brain, I'd be like, why don't they just put Visser 1 in there? But it's like Visser 1 didn't want to be an Andalite. He wanted to be a human, a controller instead.
I was just making that clear to the listeners.
And Visser 2 is just a loser.
Yeah.
I also had the idea that they're like in the last book, Axe said that there were three main species that are still fighting the Yerk. So I was like, oh, maybe the first one is a member of the one species, and Visser 2 is a member of another one of the species that's fighting it. And maybe they both have some kind of power that's like similar to morphing, but that is slightly better. So that's why they get to be those two. I mean, that kind of flopped, but you know.
We've been talking about his mom a lot. We should probably talk about like how they got there and like where he saw his mom and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yerk Mothership, done. Next topic.
Visser 3 shows up and he's like, okay, Visser 1's here. I'm gonna...
Okay, wait, the whole plot of this book was that Axe wants to go home. So they steal all these... So their plan is to steal... I don't think we even said this. Maybe Stur said it in his haikus, but that was a long time ago. So their plan is to build like a transmitter that can transmit like a Yerk message, basically, that'll get a bug fighter to come down and check it out. Then they can beat up whoever's driving the bug fighter, and then they can take the bug fighter and take it to Axe's home world and take Axe home. That was their whole plan. And so, but it goes wrong because they built the transmitter. Like most of this book was like getting the parts for the transmitter. Then they build it. Then they go to like then they go away from their house. They go somewhere like an hour's flight away or whatever, and they set up the transmitter. And then they lure a bug fighter over, and they all turn into their battle morphs. And then they try and ambush the bug fighter, but it's a trap. There's a bunch of they somehow knew about it. Oh, because I like how the Yerks like quote outsmarted them. It was like Visser 3 was like, did you really not think we don't change our signal every once in a while? I like that. I was like, it's such a simple reason that that didn't work. So anyway, they ambush them. They load them onto the ship. The Animorphs are taken prisoner, and they're like, oh no, we're totally gonna die this time, guys.
The Animorphs are all in like big animal morphs at this point.
Yeah, they're all in their battle morphs. And Tobias is there too. Wow, I don't think we've said the name Tobias in this review yet. Actually we did. Okay. Well, anyway, so now they're on the mothership, and now we can go on about whatever it was we were gonna say.
I thought the ending was a really big cop-out.
Oh no, it's great. It was really good.
This is my favorite ending by far.
This was the least cop-outy ending so far.
I mean, the ending of where he goes to the graveyard, but like where the gold uniform soldiers just Deus Ex Machina them out of there. I'm like, heck yeah, let's turn into ants. Let's crawl in the walls. Let's go and do the thing that we hated to do, and let's like keep fighting to the end, baby. And then they're like, nope, we didn't have to do that. We're just gonna get let out. The end.
Yeah, it was awesome. Oh, that was good. I love it.
We should explain. So what happened? What happened is they were like in this like alien jail on this mothership, and they saw Visor 1 and Visor 3, and they were like, hey, so what we're going to do, we're going to turn into ants, and then we're going to like try to escape somehow. But then, so when they're in jail, like right before they decide to do that plan, one of Visor 1's soldiers goes up and says, hey guys, there's an escape pod like down the hall. I'll let you guys out and just go over there and come out, because Visor 1 and Visor 3 do not like each other. They hate each other. So Visor 1 sent that guy to let them out, because she's like, oh yeah, if these Andalite warriors escape, then Visor 3 is going to look bad, because this is like Visor 3 is the one who captured them. So if they escape, it's going to make Visor 3 look bad, and then the leaders are going to like me better.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Well, yeah, it is stupid.
No, it's good.
But I like
It's petty, and she's compromising their whole mission.
No. This is perfect example of show don't tell. What better way to show just how evil Visor 1 is than by sabotaging her own mission just to put Visor 3 down and to stay ahead? It's
That's
awesome.
stupid. Why the heck would she do that?
politics.
Stay ahead.
How did she get to be Visor 1 if she's just a petty little brat?
That's how you get ahead in life. You be a petty little brat. You take advantage of people and chop them down when you have the chance. And she had the chance and she took it. She blamed Visor 3 on it, and it was perfect.
But it's her mission too. She's trying to take over Earth. She devoted her whole life to taking over Earth. She's like, okay, I'm going to be a human controller. I'm going to live here for 2 years or something.
Yeah,
and then
and
you get to know the wildlife, and she knows like the names of the animals and stuff. And she's like, okay, good. Let's just let these Andalite bandits go, because clearly they're not competent enough to like destroy us.
No. It gets her ahead in the rank of the Visors, and that's all she cares about. She's
already the first rank of the Visors. What is she gonna? What benefit does this give her?
If Visor 3 was able to successfully capture the Andalite bandits, he would probably become Visor 1, because
You don't know that. You don't know that.
Well, that's what I assume, because that's why Visor 1 let them out. And also, this is going on a limb, but I'm not sure if Visor 1 really cares about the Andalite bandits. Like, Visor 3 seems very focused on catching the Andalite bandits. I don't know if Visor 1 really...
Yeah, because the Andalite bandits are a threat.
I don't think Visor 1 really cares that much about, I don't think Visor 1 actually cares about conquering Earth. She just cares about, like, looking good. And I thought this ending was dumb, but I loved it. Like, I thought it was, like, good dumb. It was, like dumb because it's, like, kind of dumb thing that would happen in real life. Because it's like Watergate.
No, it's not. I could never see this happen.
It's like Mothershipgate. That's what it was.
If you're like playing a board game where you all have the same goal, like
this isn't a board game, Stir. This is real life.
Listen. Okay, board game. Omega Virus. The goal is to stop everyone from blowing up. Okay, if one person is about to win, you stop them because you want to win, even though they have the chance of saving your life. You want to be the one to win, so you stop them from happening because she knows, okay, I will be able to catch these Andalites easy because I'm better than him. So she's just going to let them go for now and then end up later on being put way ahead. Maybe you should be Visor 0 because she captured the Andalites that all the other ones failed to do 20 times because she was sabotaging them. It's the perfect plan. She's the perfect villain.
No, that's too evil.
No, it's good.
Too evil.
No, it's good.
No, it's not good.
It's so good.
It's dumb. It's Deus Ex Machina. It's a cop-out. I was expecting a better ending, but no. Applegate ran out of pages, and she's like, oh, I don't know. They get rescued. These people are never in peril.
They could not have escaped on their own. If they escaped on their own, would have been a cop-out. It would be that easy to escape. That would be a cop-out if they escaped on their own somehow.
If this book just ended with them turning into ants and escaping, that would be stupid. That'd be a cop-out, and I would hate it. This ending was way better.
No, because they would actually be trying to get themselves out. This is a cop-out because Applegate was just like, let's just do that.
There's no way they could have escaped. If they escaped, I'd say no.
Yeah, there is.
It's a big maze. There's no way they could have gotten out as ants. No way. It's too big. They have no idea where they're going. They had a 1 in a million chance of even finding the right.
It would have been cooler to see him do it.
It's not cool. It would have been like all the other books where they just turn into ants and would turn into some animals and just win with stupid things.
Yeah, this is worse because they don't even turn into animals and win with something.
I don't like dumb luck. The previous books was dumb luck. This was very planned. This had a very clear reason as to why they won, and it was because Visor 1 wanted to get ahead, and it was logical, and it contributed to the plot.
Hey, Batter, I think you'd have a valid complaint if like Visor 1 was an established character that we knew about, and we were like, oh, Visor 1 would never do this. But since we don't know anything about Visor 1, this is kind of like her establishing character moment. Is like that she would do something like this, and so we kind of just have to accept that this is a thing she would do. And so as long as in future appearances, like she's written consistently with this action, then I think this is a good writing. But if in the future she is written completely differently than this, and so you're like, wait, she would never do that, then this would be a cop out. But since we don't know yet, I don't think that. I think this is her establishing character moment, so I can't really call it a cop out.
All right, it's not the okay. Fine, I'll accept it.
The problem I had with the endings of the previous books is it's like they did something and they turned into animals and they somehow miraculously survived. But in this one, it had nothing to do with their ability of putting on this great challenge. It was someone else basically just let them go. And it seems so much more realistic.
Excuse me, that happened in the last book too. The whale ex machina'd them out, and you guys all said that was dumb.
The whales are stupid.
Yeah, but the whale came because Casey called the whale, and it just happened to come. This literally was very unexpected, and that's another thing I loved about it. The whale thing is like, oh, yeah, she called the whale. Oh, I guess the whale's going to come save them now.
The unexpectedness signals to me that Applegate didn't know what she was doing, and she just decided to throw that in there.
It was just this complicated plan that was made by. This was the most thought out ending in the whole series so far.
Like, why would Applegate just not write them turning into ants and escaping? That'd be easy. She just come up with some dumb reason for them winning.
This is easy.
No, it's not. To have this political plot, that's not easy to think of. Easy is, okay, they turn into ants and run away. That's the easiest. I could relate that.
It would have thematically tied in with the fact that they didn't like being ants the first time, but now they're like, okay, our lives are on the line. This is not about what we want to do. This is about what we have to do. And this is about not giving up. And this is about taking our lives into our own hands and being competent. No, this is teaching us that they can just rely on luck to get them out. Just they're dumb luck that Visser 3 is a petty bitch, and she cares more about herself instead of her mission.
Visser 1 is.
It's Visser 1. I'm sorry. That's just how I read it.
Here's the thing, Applegate. If she wanted to do cop out, she would have not brought up the plan with the ants, and they'd be like, "Oh man, there's no way we can escape this. We're never gonna escape this." And then she would have just had the guy go save them. But she intentionally brought up the plan with the ants, and they were gonna do it. And then she had the thing come in and say, "Oh, hey, you're free."
I'm not gonna argue that having them not bring up the plan with the ants would have been worse. That would have definitely been worse if they hadn't even brought it up. But it would have been better if they had actually done it.
It would have been so bad. It would have been just like every
terrible ending.
In the encounter, they got out because of sheer luck. Nothing they did helped them get out, except the ship blew up and then they were freed and then they got out. They were stuck in the tank and they're like, okay, I guess we'll die. And then what happened? Luck.
It's not. Excuse me, that wasn't luck. That was Tobias stealing somebody's gun and blowing up the ship.
Yeah, but they had nothing to do with that.
Well, yeah, but Tobias did. Tobias was on their side and everything.
It makes more sense that Tobias would have done something because he's on their side. I don't see why Visser 1 would hate Visser 3 so much that she would not hate these Andalite people who are trying to fight her.
She knows she can catch them later.
We'll find out.
I guess.
Another thing I liked about this book is I think it didn't have any really, really stupid plans from the Animorphs.
Yeah, I thought the plan was good.
I don't see anything wrong with the plan at all.
Well, I'm not just talking about the ending. I'm also talking earlier. They had no reason to believe that calling the Yeerks I feel like the plan, you wouldn't reasonably assume that the Yeerks would know. Oh yeah, this is a trap, and then set a trap for them. But the whole thing with them turning into fish and getting sucked up in the ship, I feel like that was a bad plan from the beginning. But
yeah,
this one, I feel like the plan wasn't flawed.
I think it's silly that they decided that, let's try to get Axe home. This plan just seemed dangerous to me. I don't know. I'm like, why does Axe care about going home so badly? Can't he just wait a few years until his friends come around?
A few years.
Honestly, I didn't catch that he wanted to get home. I was listening to the audiobook.
Well, what did you think their whole motivation was?
I thought they were trying to steal a ship so they could attack the Yeerks or something. I don't know.
Oh my god!
Well, it doesn't really end up mattering that much, I guess.
Yeah, it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Yeah, that just seemed. I was like, what? They're gonna steal a bug fight? That doesn't seem like a good idea. I mean, the plan when they made it was more airtight than their past plans, but still, I didn't like the whole idea behind the book anyway. Or at least I just thought it was kind of like, okay.
I really like Marco as a narrator, and I'm curious if I'm going to like all of the following books that he narrates as much as this one. Because I feel like even if the plot in this book is really stupid, like I like his narration.
Yeah, I like that too.
I think this one also had like one of the best plots, though.
Aside from the ending, it was pretty solid. And aside from the part that, like, you know, nothing happened when Axe just turned into an Andalite, that I'm still a bit sorry about that.
Do you want to talk about like the final scene now?
Let me talk about some miscellaneous Marco quotes here. Some of them kind of deep.
Oh, hang on, do we have anything else to say about them being on the ship?
They go down a drop shaft, which is like a psychic elevator, where they just think about what floor they want to be on. Oh, I like the part where they pass by a human controller who sees like an elephant and a tiger and a gorilla and Andalite like flying through the drop shaft, and he just looks at, and Marco remarks that he looks exactly like a regular human would look in that moment. And I was like, oh yeah, that guy's probably just like trying to go to work. He didn't expect this.
That reminds me how the doorways in the alien spaceship, it says they like grow and shrink to like your size, but it looks like how like a living creature would grow and not like machinery.
Yeah.
I really like the way the technology was described in this book. There are a lot of things that were like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like the part where Axe says, Axe asks Marco if he fears Hork-Bajir, and then Marco says, you better believe I fear them. And then Axe says, fear is unworthy of a warrior. And then Marco says, I don't know much about Andalites, but I had a feeling I understood this one, at least a little. See, he was alive, but every other Andalite who had come to Earth, including Axe's brother, the prince, was dead. So I took a shot. It wasn't fair, maybe, but he'd made me mad, acting like I was some kind of coward. How many times have you fought Hork-Bajir, or any other controller? I asked him. His stalk eyes drooped. He pawed the ground with one hoof. Never, he said. I nodded. I thought so. So let me tell you something, Axe. It's scary. It's so scary that sometimes you wish you could just go ahead and die because it's easier than dealing with the terror.
Yeah.
I like Marco now. And also, I thought it was like cool that Axe is not just like this. Axe is so much more incompetent than I remember him being.
That reminded me of another interaction between Marco and Axe when they were like captured by the UX, and Axe was like, do humans fear death? And Marco was like, yes, we're not crazy about it. How about Andalites? And Axe was just like, yeah, we're not crazy about it either.
Oh, yeah, I love that. And then Marco says, I think I kind of liked Axe. It's nice.
I noticed that they keep calling Hork-Bajir salad shooters, and I don't understand why. Like,
yeah, they do. I didn't know what that was when I first read these either, and I still don't. What is a salad shooter? What the hell is that?
Oh, is it those things that grind cheese? It's those things that grind cheese at Olive Garden, I think.
What?
No.
Cheese graters?
No, those fancy... Okay, hold on.
Okay, wait, that's a salad shooter? How is that anything like a Hork-Bajir? I don't imagine Hork-Bajir is looking at all like that.
They have a big handle on the back.
Yeah, what the fuck? What is this?
They have a little tail.
Yeah, well, how are they salad shooters?
What do Hork-Bajirs look like? Are they the centipedes?
No,
that's like taxons. Oh my gosh. For somebody who like seems like they barely read the book, you sure have a lot to say about it.
I don't remember anyone's names, that's all.
All right, so random miscellaneous. I have some miscellaneous kind semi-deep Marco quotes here, where he's talking about his mom's death anniversary. 2 years to the day. 2 years since my mom died, and I don't know what to do. I don't know whether I should talk to my dad about it or just let it pass. But I do know one thing. This would be a really bad week for me to turn up dead. I was like, ouch.
Yeah. All the stuff with the anniversary of his mom's death was gold. I love that. He's like, well, I don't know if I want to go out and go on adventures on the day my mom died, because I don't want my dad to be like, oh my gosh, now my son's missing too. Oh, they're both dead now. Oh.
Yeah, and they wouldn't find Marco's body either.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
So there's a part where Marco is having the nightmare about lobsters, and then he wakes up and he asks, Mom? Silence. Then, no, said Dad.
Ah, yes.
Like, he wasn't even dreaming about Mom. Like, I thought that was cool. It was subtle. It was just like, he was in that half awake state.
Mm-hmm.
I like the dad's reactions, just like, no. Here's this one part that I thought was kind of weird. It's part of Marco's narration. So is space, a voice in my head said. Somewhere, very, very far away, a mother and father wondered what had become of their children. For a long time, I made up stories about how my mom had survived. Maybe on a desert island or something. But I'm a realistic person, I guess. After a while, I accepted it. And after a while, Axe's parents would accept that he and his brother, Prince Elfangor, would not be returning. That they had been lost forever in space. So, does anyone have any idea what the somewhere very, very far away a mother and father wondered what had become of their children? Oh, wait, he's talking about Axe's parents. Okay, never mind.
You didn't know that at first?
I thought it was like talking about like God or something. I like how we saw a lot of how Marco's thoughts work, where he says, I didn't answer. I was too scared to want to talk about it. If I talked about it, it would become real, you know? Better not to think. Better to shove it out of my mind. And I thought that's a really nice moment of like that's Marco's character right there.
Yeah.
It's like either joke about it or shove it out of your mind. But at the same time, he's like, I had some part where, sorry, I'm like kind of going, I've been talking for a while now, but does anyone have anything else to say right now?
Not if you're talking, I don't know.
There's some part I wanted to, it was like Marco is more direct than the other. Like the others in the other books just kind of don't talk about, I don't know, I'll read the quote and see what you guys think. I think I have a kind of a trouble putting words to it, but I really liked this part of what Marco said. It's not so easy to forget terror. It's not easy to just ignore the memory of your leg being ripped off, of being dismembered, torn apart. One of these days, I thought, one of us is going to go crazy. Totally lock me up in a rubber room nutso. It was too much. This wasn't how life was supposed to be. One of us would snap. One of us would lose it. It could happen, even to strong people.
Yeah, I really like that quote too.
Like, nobody said that before. They all kind of insinuated it, but Marco was just like, yeah, this is, you know, this is not going to end well.
And then like, Rachel freaks out in the lunchroom, and then, yeah, good payoff there.
Oh, I didn't even think about how it was connected to that. I was thinking he was talking like more long-term than just someone having a bad day at school.
Well, yeah.
I just like Marco. I like Marco's character a lot now. Like, he's a jerk, but he's our jerk.
He's a jerk, but it's like a reaction to all the bad stuff that's been going on in his life. It's like his way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's a jerk.
Well, that's because you're exactly like him.
Yeah.
Whoa, hey, that's toxic.
It's true.
No, I mean I like Marco and I like Mustard.
All right, last scene.
Yeah.
Eat, kill and eat. Eat, kill and eat. Eat, kill and eat. Eat, kill and eat.
That's how it ends, yeah. Okay, that's the podcast. Should we do outros?
No.
What? We covered the end.
No, we didn't.
We're chill and neat, 5 pages. Do you have anything to say about it?
Yeah, when he plays Doom with his dad.
Kill and neat, rip and tear, knee deep in the dead.
Hey, do you think Applegate knows like how not appropriate for kids Doom is?
It's
I don't know what Doom is.
Fine.
It has like freaking Doom has like demons being crucified upside down.
You sound like the people in the media who are like, "Oh, video games cause violence."
No, the reason I'm saying that is because I feel like if Applegate knew it was like that in 1995 or whenever this was made, she wouldn't have put it in there. That's what I assume.
Yeah, actually, yeah. As a 40-year-old mom, yeah, you're right. She probably doesn't know what Doom is.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. Like, I don't think as a 40-year-old mom, Applegate would have talked about Doom so much in the books if she knew what Doom was like.
She's like, Doom, that's edgy, and all the kids seem to like that, so I'm going to put that in my book.
When I played Doom the first time, I was shocked.
We're all just profiling Applegate, you know? Maybe she's a really awesome epic gamer.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I just want to say that the part where they turn into ants is my favorite part in the whole book. That one really got me going. It was like, oh man, this is cool.
Whoa.
I like X in the cinnamon buns or whatever. Wait, the malls. Sorry. X and the malls and the cops and the cinnamon buns and the pizza and the coffee and the, oh my God. I think about that quote a lot where he says, a hole in the lid. So simple, and yet so effective. I think about that a lot.
I really like the lobster part.
I like when they're in Chapman's room and then Marco starts using the computer thing and Axe is like, "What? You guys know how to use computers?" Marco's like, "Yeah, I mean we're a few centuries behind your computers, but I get the hang of it." It's like cool because it's like, wow, Marco's spanning the bridge of technology. He's such a genius.
I didn't even remember that part. I don't even remember Axe being like, "Well, you guys can use computers." That's funny because that contradicts something that is revealed later about Andalites, but I won't say it right now.
At the end, Mako's like, I raised my eyes up to the sky, the blue sky of Earth, my home. She was probably gone from some mothership now, off to some other corner of the galaxy. Wait, no, hang on, I'm reading the wrong line. Wait, where's the... Whatever. Hang on, okay, I wrote it down. Mako's like, okay, someone else say something while I look for this.
I didn't remember that line, and that sounds pretty...
Foul creatures are these? They're not even individual. They're part of a whole. This is clearly inferior to me and my species of individualists, says Axe. I like the idea of a hive mind. I like the idea of them working together and, being more than just their petty, stupid selves. I think I would enjoy being an ant.
Batter's over here like pro ant. Like, what's with all the ant hate?
Okay, you're very small and you can't see very well, but like sensing things with your antenna, that seems like a cool idea.
It's because they can't do anything on their own.
Yeah, the Axe was literally like, what are these horrible creatures? This is the worst thing I've ever experienced.
They're not whole. They're only parts like cells, just pieces. What kind of foul creatures are these? Jeez, Axe, some animals aren't you, okay? Deal with it.
When do we get anteaters?
Book 32? I'm going to look
I found the quote I wanted to read.
All right.
It's when they're in the escape pod. As the tiny ship turned, I could see the Yerk mothership. It was kind of a joke now, I thought. The Yerk mothership. My mother on the Yerk mothership. Ha ha.
Yeah, I had that written down too.
I mean, I thought of that as soon as I saw his mom on the ship. I thought, oh, it's a mothership. Haha.
He's trying to make like a joke when he's like, seems actually really sad. I thought that was interesting.
The anteater is on the cover of book 24.
Okay, we should really wrap up soon.
Yeah, what does anyone have anything else to say?
No. All right.
Hooray. All right. Well,
just talk about ants for the next 5 minutes, but I don't think that's really necessary.
Ants are bad. I mean, wait, what am I saying?
Ants suck.
Ants are really
The
cool.
ant universe, it's flat. It ends whenever there's a wall. There's nothing behind it. It's just the edge of the world. And the ants like, okay.
Ants are awesome.
Ants are cool. And then Marco goes into a tunnel. He's like, oh no, I'm going to be scared because I am claustrophobic. And then the ant's like, this is my world, dude. Get on my
I'd be an
level.
ant. I wouldn't want to be an ant if I'm trying to save the universe like they are, but I'd be an ant.
I'd only be afraid about being stomped on or eaten. But, like ants have their own little world. They're like, oh, these other ants are our enemies. We got to kill them.
Whoa.
No, one I noticed in real life. Okay, I'm going to talk about ants for 5 minutes. Yeah, I'll do that. Let's talk about ants. Yes, ants. Ants.
No.
Yes,
Anteaters.
Okay, it sounds like we're done talking about the book.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm Batter. I mean, I'm Burger. I mean, I'm Be Natural.
Sorry.
This is Be Natural, and I'm signing off. Sorry, I had a little mistaken identity there.
Sorry, it happens. Understandable.
This is Batter. See you later.
This is Kirkerbane. Catch you on the flip side.
This is Mustard by...
This is Stir. I declare that all four of you sounded very tired in your outros. I do too.
What?
Well, I guess you kind of. You all just seemed like you.
Everything always sounds tired.
You all sound like you've been recording a podcast for 2 hours.
Wow.
I'm Mustard. Goodbye.
That's good.
I was up until 8. I was up
until
until 8 writing something.
Guys.
That's why I'm tired.
Guys.
I've been up.
Guys. What's a rabbit? Guys?
Hello?
Wait, you already said this. The top shots. That was last week.
What? Oh, that's okay. So I just edited episode 3, so I thought that was the last one. My bad. What's a snake's favorite subject?
history.
Science.
History.
No, history.
I'm going to say history, yeah.
History.
That was a great joke.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, bye. Love you guys.
I don't.